wanted to share a tool that I started using recently. And if you're doing any prospecting or lead sourcing from LinkedIn, it's definitely worth checking out. The tool is called Surf, and it's spelled SURFE. It's a Chrome extension that allows you to add contacts to your CRM directly from LinkedIn. I use it to add contacts quickly, follow my deals, keep track of my notes, and it's actually saved me a bunch of time. The data is always 100% accurate because I don't have to copy and paste each detail from each contact over to my CRM. Instead, Surf does it all for me automatically with just one click. Now, the folks over at Surf have been kind enough to put together a promo offer for fans of SSP. You can go to the link in the show notes and use the promo code JWSURF with an E 5 for a 5% discount on your first year. Check out the link in the show notes and go check them out. This one is for the savvy startups and SMBs out there. I've got a secret weapon for you that's going to skyrocket your sales without the unnecessary headaches that come along with using one of the big player CRM systems. That secret weapon is Close CRM. Now, let's face it, we've all been there. We've used a clunky, confusing system that kind of makes you want to throw your laptop out the window. Well, fear not, Close is here to save your time, money, and sanity. Close has all of the powerful sales tools you need, minus the drama, to manage your leads, track your deals, and crush your targets effortlessly. It has calling, emailing, SMS, multi-channel sequences, and it even has meeting tracking built right in. It's easy to set up and implement. You can stop screwing around with CRMs that aren't built for you and start selling and managing customers today. You can start a free trial using the link in the show notes, special for SSP fans. So I got a Slack from a colleague of mine today, and he asked, what are some things that I can do to improve my conversion rate from the demo stage to closing the deal? So here's what I shared with him. I said, there's really two things that you can do to make sure that you manage the deal cycle in a way that you can help influence the outcome. You can never fully influence the outcome as a seller. You are at the mercy of the buyer in their evaluation process. But these are two things that you can do to make sure you've covered your bases. And they're things that your manager might ask you about. So let's dig in here. What I told him was, you've got to set next steps. This is not new. Everyone knows that this is one of the most important parts about selling, is that at the end of every conversation with a buyer, you've got to establish what the next step is. Now, it's not as simple as just asking for next steps or asking the prospect what they think the next step should be. You have to actually propose what that next step is. And you need to use this as an opportunity to position yourself as a consultant to this prospect and an advisor to the prospect. You want to show them that you can guide them through the buying process, the project itself. And so one way to do that is asking for that next step, and not just asking for it again, but proposing what that next step would look like based on other deals that have been done at your company and other customers who've successfully navigated this process at your company. So how do you do that? This brings me to the second thing that I shared, which was implementing a close plan. I've talked about this on the podcast before. In fact, I have a template for close plans that I'm going to share in the show notes, but it's basically a project milestone document that backs into where you are now from where you need to get to. And in most cases, for most buyers, that's the go live. When do they go live with your product, your software, your solution? And how do we walk backwards from that point in time to now and define every single milestone that has to happen on both sides? My side as the seller and their side as the buyer. Who does what? Who needs to see a demo before we can advance to the next stage? What paperwork has to get looked at? Is there a security evaluation that needs to be reviewed? Is there legal documentation that needs to be established? What is each and every step that you need to go through? And how do you put goals around each of those milestones being achieved with a specific date? So what I typically do, and how this sounds at the end of a demo, is I might say, great, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, thank you for an engaging demo session today. Before we finish the call, I'd like to set up a 15-minute follow-up call in the next couple of days where we can go through a mutual action plan. And this is something that our most successful customers have implemented to navigate this evaluation process. And it helps keep the two of us on the same page so we can manage this project together and ultimately get to the signature outcome. Now, what's great about close plans is if they're not a serious buyer, they're not going to agree to that meeting. And then you kind of know that it's not a real deal and you can qualify it out and move on to the next one. But if they agree to take that meeting and you spend 15, 20, 30 minutes working with them to plot out every step that it's going to take in order to get a signature on an order form, you're going to close that deal. So I hope that helps someone out there. Next steps, always be asking for them. Every call has to have a next step. And it's best if you propose that next step. Show your expertise, show you've guided another customer through this process before, and implement a mutual action plan or a close plan. Document every step that it's going to take to get the deal done and be as specific as possible. Assign it out to specific people on the buyer team. Include people on your side like your solutions consultants, your security team, etc. But be very thorough with that. And if you can do that, you'll improve your conversion rates from demo to signed paperwork. Hope that helps.